how to register, how to file, how to pay, and stay compliant. Let's go on. So when you're starting a business, how do you plan? How do you structure your business? Before you think about registering a business, you need to sit down and think about which kind of structure do I want? Do I want to be a sole proprietor? Do I want to register a limited company or NGO? You need to know exactly where you fall and how it is going to work for you. You need to plan this before you register. You think of registration. And with that, also, you choose your names, and then you register for your company. As you register your company, most of us prefer registering as sole proprietors, but we forget that registering a company has more benefits to your business, which sole proprietorship doesn't have. But some of us, we can start from there and then maybe graduate to a full company. So as you register, you need to take note of bookkeeping starts from the word go, from the time of registration, because even that 30,000 you pay for reservation of your name, it is an amount you're supposed to get a payment voucher and put it there so that you can claim it from your company, because all these are startup costs that you're going to incur as the business is finding its foot on the ground. So bookkeeping starts from the word go before you register. So as you get your licenses or your registration fees, you are supposed to make sure you are keeping these records, because one of the deductions or benefits we have is in these costs can be spread in 4 years. Meaning in the first year you can claim, you can file them, and then your liability is reduced. In the second year, third year, and fourth year. So URA allows that. So do not take this for granted, because most of us find that starting up a company or a business, it is even costly. This is money you're dishing out. So you should account for it and have it documented. So as you register, they ask you for a tax identification number. So you see, any business or taxation falls under 4 pillars. We have registration, we have filing, then we have paying, and then maintaining your records. So under registration, we have taxes that we are supposed to register as we are applying for a team. Most of us would choose any taxes. That is why you find, if one of you followed Mzei's case or matter at one point, he was being charged a big liability for having simply ticked off something to do with rental income. He was being charged for that, yet he had never earned rental income. I'm talking about Nzei of Pepsi Cola. So registration is very important. Know exactly what you want at the point in time. So when you're starting as an SME, you should start with income tax. If you have any employees, add pay as you earn. And pay as you earn goes hand in hand with NSSF. That is National Social Security Fund. They go hand in hand, regardless whether you have 1 employee, 2 employees, 3 employees. At one point, pay will give you up. Because if these two are not matching or they are not aligning, then you're going to get your penalties because of that. And URA or even NSSF itself will all end up following you. So first, register for income, and then pay as you earn if you have employees. If you're starting as yourself, then register income. So as time goes, when you hit a threshold of 150 million, whether you are a sole proprietor, whether you are a big company, and you hit the threshold, my friend, you're supposed to register for VAT in the next 20 days. So if at any time you fail to and you've hit the threshold, URA will definitely look for you, and that is simply a matter of time. So as interests are accumulating, they will give you time, but you will know that, interest is piling. And when they get you, then they will make you pay all of it, or even face prosecution. So if you are a sole proprietor, or if you're an SME, and you feel like you want VAT, most of you have clients or customers who request for invoices, and yet you have not hit that threshold. You can voluntarily ask URA that you want to register for VAT, and they will accept, as long as you anticipate that in the next 3 months you will hit the 150 threshold. So if you're to consider, that is annual, but if you're to consider quarterly, it should be like 37.5 million each quarter. So when you want VAT, you can still volunteer and register, and then you're able to serve your clients comfortably, because no one wants to work with somebody who is not compliant. At one point, they will throw you out and bring in another supplier. So going to the next, there are also other types of taxes, but these are the most important. We have WHT, which is withholding tax, which is payment held at source, and it's normally 6%. So then we have excise duty, which is it's to do with legal documentation, and I think that is it. Then we have gaming and pooling, which is also filed like weekly. But these are the main. So when we go to filing, you have to plan your taxation. You have to plan in your business that mark every 15th of another month that you're supposed to file your returns. Whether it is VAT, whether it is pay as you earn, whether it's excise duty, you're supposed to mark your calendar and make sure you submit your return. Now, what happens if at all you have not submitted your return on 15th? That is, you get an interest or penalty. You are supposed to file. This is between 1st to 15th of another month. You're supposed to file and pay within the same period. If you fail to pay within this period, then the payment you make after 16th, that is going to bring a penalty of 200,000. And mind you, this is every month. Whether you know it, whether you don't know it, URA doesn't care, as your obligation as at the beginning when you registered for that team is to pay tax. Simply that, and their job is to collect tax or expand the tax base. The whole thing, entrepreneurs keep saying that, what is the government doing with our money? What? No one cares. Everybody has their rights and obligations. So you should play your part, pay your taxes, but again, be strategic enough so that you don't pay more than what you're not supposed to pay. And you're going to only do that if at all you organize yourself, have your books in place. Friends, if you cannot use a software, of which we have a number of them that are free, please get an Excel. Find somebody to just organize something small in Excel for you, and then you have your books organized. Because if you don't, and I'm telling you, during an audit with URA, you are going to face the repercussions. And they don't care whether you're surviving, whether you've not paid your employees for some time, whether you don't have money. They want what belongs to them. And that is what takes them to other steps to get their money. So we have talked about filing. We have 15th monthly, and we have talked about you filing and paying before the night of 15th. That is before 16th. Those two should be done, the filing and the payment. If at any point, if you fail to pay at that time, because most of us, we have our money withheld, we have maybe even VAT, you find that some of it is even withheld by your supplier, by your contractor. Make sure you communicate with the taxman. We have what we call a CRM. That is a client relationship manager. Every individual has a CRM. Now, you must utilize that CRM. You have to make sure that your business is registered in an email. You know that you're going to keep checking on, because if you don't communicate with a taxman, if at all you're silent, ignorance is no defense. They will still come for you, because if they send you a message and then you keep quiet, they send another, you keep quiet, they will report to their supervisor, we reached out to this person and they have evidence that you have not replied. Then they'll end up taking other steps. So use your CRM, call your CRM, because each person is given a CRM through your email. So attach an email while you're registering for your team. Attach an email that you can access, and do not keep quiet. Silence kills. Silence is the reason why most of you, or most of us, have lost businesses. Why most of us are in prison, are jailed, because why most of us have our property, bailed out. Silence is the reason, because they'll reach out to you and then you keep quiet. So they will take other steps. They will tight mark your property, and before you know it, they're on sale. So make sure you communicate, use your CRM, call your CRM and tell them, you know what, I've been able to file my return, but I don't have the money right now. I'm requesting for this period of time so that I may be able to pay you on time. Now, when you make this communication, make sure you have evidence. Pass that communication through an email, or if you've used a phone to talk to your CRM, make sure you do what? Make sure you record that conversation. So going on, Anita. Anita, turn on the slides.
Yeah, just a minute. I'm working on it.
So going on, you make sure you communicate with your CRM, and then you're able to also have that put together. And when you tell them, I'm going to pay within this period of time, make sure you do, because that is not going to stop your interest from, mounting or adding up. But because they want to hold you accountable, if at all you've said, I'm going to pay in the next 3 weeks, make sure in 3 weeks you pay. Because if you don't pay, then you're paying the whole sum of what is accumulating. But then if you pay as they expect you to pay, then you will only pay what they are demanding. So going on, so am I so far clear? Because I'm trying to use the simplest language so that entrepreneurs are able to understand me without using any sort of jargons. Okay. So the other slide was about payment. And all of you know that you have to pay on time. When you register, you pay, and URA has given you all options of paying. You can pay through your mobile money, through your bank, through any other way, even through your portal. So next step, how do you register? You have to get a tax identification number, and this is required by all businesses. If you start operating without the government knowing, that is black market. And if they dare find you operating without a tax identification or registration, that is already persecution, or you will pay accordingly. So you're required, this is required for all businesses. Then this, when you want to register for your team, simply go to URI. Any person there can assist you. It is free registration, or apply at ura.go.ug, and then you follow the procedure so that you're able to register. And these days, it is instant. You put in your information and then you're able to be, you're given a team. But you have to make sure you're doing it the right way. So the next is VAT registration. Like I told you earlier, you must have hit the threshold of 150 turnover, and then the rate is 18%. Then you register within the 20 days. I had also talked about this part. So NSSF, all employees must register. I told you earlier, regardless whether you have one employee, and NSSF was very clear that whether you have 1 employee or 2 or 3, please go ahead and then put in that money. So the employee contributes 5% and the employer contributes 10%. Next slide. So, so registration is very essential. So as we go on, we want to know, when do we file? When do we file? So in this table, I put the type of taxes and then the deadlines, whereby VAT is registered 15 days after month. That is every 15th of another month. That means you're registering for the month that has ended. Then we have payee. Payee is the same. You register it by 15th. NSSF is the same. Then income tax return. So this one has both provisional and then the final income. So in the 6 months of another month, that's after the whole financial year, you're supposed to file your provision. And under your provision, you people, you are expected to submit an estimation and pay 90% prepaid. So this is where the tax gets a bit unfair, because how do I start a month, a new year, and I'm still in the early days or early months of the business, of the operation, and then you expect me to estimate over that much? You want 90% prepaid, and you want it to come through an estimation. So with this, I advise entrepreneurs to file on the 6th month. That is maybe around June. You file it around 27th, 28th, or around 25 or 25th. So there, it's going to give you a clear picture of your business and a position of your business, because you're going to be able to estimate at least when you have moved either 5 months or even the 6th month, so that you also give them an estimation that is reliable, that is not going to get your funds or your capital tied into the portal. Because now when you overpay, again, you have to ask for a refund. And asking for a refund, the taxman wants to audit you. So rather than you estimating and giving all this early, like in February, March, no. Go ahead and take all that period. And then as it's coming to an end, have everything organized, have your financials ready, or your trial balance, and then move information from there so that you get that position that is at least fair. Then with that, I always tell entrepreneurs that you don't have to pay all at once, because we need capital to run in the business. We need a cash flow in the business. So divide them into 4 different, for example, you can pay in 4 installments. Either you can pay in March, then you pass some 3 months again pay until it is over, like 4 installments of payment. And you have to remember, because most of us choose to pay in 4 installments or 2, but again end up forgetting and wait for the taxman to remind us. So on the final income tax, you end up paying less or even not paying at all, because the estimation already is taking care of itself due to that amount that you already gave them. Because prepaid is money paid in the future that you actually have not yet made. So let's go to the next, that is withholding tax. That one is also supposed to be paid in 15 days. Most of us don't even get to know when we have the withholding. You must look into your accounts, your TIN accounts, and take advantage of those credits. Utilize them. Don't simply always pay. Make sure you utilize that, and then you give the taxman money that they deserve. So do not leave your money just like that. Be so mean and selfish, and always ask, why am I giving this assessment? Where did it come from? Make sure you meet these people and ask them. They are supposed to give you answers. They're supposed to be lenient. They are supposed to listen to you and give you the right information. That one, it is also a right you have. So next is gaming and pooling, which is filed weekly. Then excise duty, which is filed also in the same period, 15 days after month. So remember, file even if you made 0 income. Even if you have a nil return, please file. because you have come into an agreement with a taxman. You have obligations to play, and they also have their own. So make sure you file. If you fail to file, that attracts a penalty of 2% per month or even 200,000, whichever is higher. So make sure, whether with zero returns, because you owe them an explanation of how your business is going on. So when you file even a new return, you're communicating to them, you know what? Because these are your partners. You're communicating to them that I was not able to what? To bring in any income. If you see that under income tax, they ask for 30%. So 30%, for me, I always tell my clients that 30% is a share capital they have in the business. You must submit that 30%, whether you want it or not. These are your partners in business, and you're supposed to give them accountability. So make sure you understand the system properly. You plan and you pay just what you have to pay. Why we are surviving or even failing to survive, it is because we overpay and we take these things for granted. Once you take tax for granted, you are going to suffer. These penalties, these interests you're paying, these are coming from your profit, not even your business. These are your profits that you make, and you're giving free to the taxman. Go on to the next one. So now, this was already in my summary, but I think I overtook in the first slide. So here I'm going to just be summarizing. So how do you pay? When you want to pay the taxman, what are you supposed to do? We have banks everywhere. Make sure you can even put it even as a standing order on a specific day, and you tell them, maybe according to my plan of the entire year, this is like a tax strategy or structure you have made. I'll be putting off this and this, and you can always adjust it accordingly. So use banks. You can deposit through your bank. We have mobile apps. We have online banking. Please, payment should not be an excuse. Pay what you have when you're supposed to pay, so that you don't get into these penalties that, again, costing too much for your business. Then we have mobile money, we have online banking, and then the URA portal. You can still pay through it. Then what are the payment rules? Like I told you earlier, that every month, every 15th of another month, you're supposed to pay. And it has to be on time. If it's not on time, that is equals to if it's on time, that is equals to no interest. Late payment will always attract 2% per month, not only on you failing to file, but also on you failing to pay. So it is a double charge. So always quote your TIN. Make sure in all transactions you're doing in your business, your TIN is put up there. It's something you add so that people notice you, because that is your form of identification in business. Keep all receipts. Keep all receipts. I don't even know how I can stress this point. I don't know how I can make it so clear. All receipts, whether on phone, whether mobile money, whether what, please keep your receipts. Make sure even your transactions in your business are through a bank account. As we're opening up our business, we have an option of having separating personal money from business money. Please do not use business money. Separate those two. Have a salary or dividends, but separate those two. Do not let them cross routes. As when you're having an audit, that is one of the things they ask for. And when you're having an audit, they will ask you for your bank statements, and you have all sorts of transactions there that don't make sense. You will end up being highly charged. So when you need more time to pay, like I told you earlier, you talk to your CRM or apply in writing before the deadline. Even when you're still having problems with filing the return and you're not yet ready, go to your TIN account and ask for an extension with a valid reason. They will be able to give you that time to file. You apply to the commissioner. Next slide. So initially I was talking about record keeping. Keep all records, starting from all invoices, all bank statements, tax returns. Even you should have all these records at least for a minimum of 6 years. URA normally says 5, but the longer you stay in business, you also need to add the years, because Something can happen in your business and then they start looking for information from even 10 years back. And then they start, looking for you and then attaching you to all different penalties and assessments. So have all your records, the ledgers, everything. If you have, for example, if you have a meeting with a business meeting, or if you have other costs, for example, you've used transport on a boda will not give you a receipt. Have that payment voucher whereby you're going to register every expense as long as it has an attachment to your business. And these should be realistic. Don't forge them. They should be realistic expenses. Get a payment voucher, put in the data that I've spent this on this particular day, and then this data you're putting in a payment voucher is going to help you to track information, and you will need it in case it is not even believing your deductibles you're requesting for. It will demand for that, and then you provide it, and then you'll be good to go. Because why are you paying too much and you're supposed to pay, yet you can simply have all these records put in place? Whether it is a border, whether you've eaten food but it was a business meeting, kindly do not let any shilling go unrecorded. So use IFRS, use your electronic receipts, then please register every sale, and this is mandatory. If you're supposed to be on IFRS, they added even other categories. If you're supposed to be on IFRS and then you're dodging it, please. This is not another type of tax. This is a system, and it is tracking your sales. Some of us have problems on even managing records. So IFRS is managing that for you. You stay with a copy, your stays with a copy. So make sure you also use it, but in the right way, because all this same thing has its own implications. And this, I think, when next time, maybe when we have another chance, we'll go practical on how to file and also see the implications of using IFRS, because it has given many people away. They are being assessed than what they should pay. So I'll also talk about this maybe some time to come. So the next one is separate money. I've just talked about this. Business bank account should be on its own. Clear records should be present, then easier filing. Everything will go smooth if you have the records in the first place. Even as accountants, we don't want to work with people who don't have records. For me, if you come and you have incomplete records, honestly, I don't have time for you. I need a person who is a bit organized so that I can also find a way to defend you. But most of you, even they call you for an audit. How can you be an entrepreneur, a business owner, and you don't know your sales in business? The taxman is asking you, what is this? You cannot even tell your sales. And you're simply saying, let me call my accountant. My accountant knows better. Entrepreneurs, you should learn to run your business. Run your business. And if you have outsourced an accountant or you have an accountant, please let them interpret these things for you in the easiest language you understand. Make sure if there are financials there, let them go through with you so that you know, because data doesn't lie. At the end of the financial year, if you have your outsourced accountant, let them have these financials, let them interpret them for you so that you easily understand them. In that when the taxman calls you, you have one or two things to say. And as a business and as an entrepreneur, you should know how your business is doing and running, because you are the visionary and you're simply selling your dream to these other people you're employing. So no IFRS equals to business closure up to 15 days. So please stay compliant. Next slide. So one other thing I also didn't tell you, that when you surpass the threshold of 150 million, you're supposed to have a registered accountant from ISPAO to organize or furnish your financial statements. It is mandatory, and it's mandatory from URA. So the next slide is about non-compliancy and penalty. What happens if we are late at filing? What happens if we choose even not to register, if we choose to run business our way and don't look at compliance? So if you have late filing, or if you file late, there is a 2% per month already. The moment that period reaches, this is something that will just automate. That is for non-filing 2%, and also for failing to pay which is 200,000 per month. So it will, as long as you have not paid or filed for that period, it will keep increasing. So late payments, that I already talked about, that it's 2% interest per month, which compounds. No registration, that is totally equals to business closure plus charges. This can even get you to jail if you're not registered and then you're identified. Because there is, if I may tell you something, there is a certain friend who told me, I have land here and there, I have these buildings, but your it doesn't know me. Who tells you? With these names they're coming up with an e-hub where they are connecting your mobile money, they are connecting your banks, they are connecting your lifestyle. You say you're earning this less, but then you're driving maybe a BMW, you're driving a TX. They are tracking your lifestyle, so they will know how much you're supposed to pay. So that e-hub is connecting different platforms to just track how you live, how you're using. You people see mobile money, using mobile money, and you see that part where they say, is it an expense? Is it a business expense? Is it what? These people are tracking you and your lifestyle and your banks and everywhere you move so that you pay the right taxes. So you cannot forge that or fool them in one way or the other. They will always find a way to track you, and it's just a matter of time. So the next one is no interest receipts. That's equals to closure up to 15 days. Poor records, that is totally a double tax pay. If you don't have records, you will pay twice what you're supposed to have paid. False information, if you falsify information, they call you and then you tell them this, you forge some paperwork, you do what and what and what, that equals to pay, you pay 3 times what you owe them. Or this information alone, falsifying information, and then you're lying to the tax officer, this alone can land you in jail. Non-negotiable. So compliance is always cheaper than penalties and interests, and which all of us don't see that because it's not visible until it's your turn to face the repercussions. Next slide. So now, recently, we had some amendments in the tax law. Mind you, I sell tax books. Yeah, I have that collaboration with a gentleman called Mr. Okuja. So I sell these tax law books. And I also find a way to simplify them for SMEs. So we have this amendment whereby we have a 3-year holiday for these people or entrepreneurs who are starting new businesses. Who qualifies? Any Ugandan citizen. A new business that is registered after 1st July 2025, then one that has capital below 500 million or has a threshold below 500 million, then also first-time beneficiaries. So this is something that is good. But again, what worries me, it is tied up to a certain compliance this SME has to follow up. They need certain information of you before you take on this offer. So for me, that is what bothers me with a taxman, is they bring up something good, but again, put a certain either law or a certain maybe requirement that is going to hold the usual business owner from actually taking on this offer. So that is one thing that bothers me about this. But this offer is there. Just get organized and then take it up. This doesn't mean that don't file. Whether you're not paying tax, like they told you that this is a tax holiday, but put in your returns. You don't have to pay, but put in your returns. Then there is another one. This is another one that actually they also talked about during the amendment. These are benefits where we have the nil stamp duty on mortgages and then digital services, which is 15% WHT. You know, when COVID hit, most people turned into social media. They started doing business online, and this has attracted this kind of setting. Next, please. Yes, Moses. Yes, that is exactly how it is. So what do I want to do? Before I tell you what the action plan, actually this is the actual plan. Yes, all of us have businesses, but we are not compliant, or we have not taken time to assess our businesses. So I want you, dear entrepreneurs, I want you to check your team status. Are you registered for the right taxes in the first place before actually things go crazy as you're growing, or maybe 10 years from now? Are you registered for the right taxes? Do you calculate your turnover? Do you have employees, and are you up to date with the payments? That is NSSF and payee. Are the employees under payee the same under NSSF? You need to cross-check that and see if at all that is the reality. Then maybe in the next 3 to 4 days, you can also, if you want to take on the other offer, you can open up a business account. Even you can do this without the other offer. Open up a business account. By this, I mean separate your personal money from your business money. Set up bookkeeping. Have your records in place. You can start small, and at the end of the day, you can do just one small thing every single day. And before you know it, by end of one full month, there is a change. I am telling you, bookkeeping is very important from the word go. So you can download also the URA app. It is useful because you will easily find information you need. They also update some, they put some updates on the app itself that you will need to harness and look through. So this is also important. Maybe sometime again, I will show you how to use the URA app. So maybe on day 5 to 6, you can do this in your own order. But for me, I want these action steps. I don't know if someone can follow up, but you people are too many. So you should be accountable to your own business and your own self just to benefit. So take advantage of the waiver, which is, there is a new waiver going on. But that doesn't mean that if you have, if you did not file in for example, 2024, and then you file now, that it will favor you. That is what people are getting wrong. This is only favoring people who have interest and penalties of those periods. But if you're asked by the taxman to amend your return, and it is amended per current, like today, whichever interest and penalty that is coming up today, as of the time you're amending that return, you are going to pay. That is not part of the waiver. And we have tried to negotiate with the taxman, but it has been in vain. I've also seen some lawyers doing that, but it has been in vain so far. So file your outstanding returns, set reminders. Know that every 5th, this and this is supposed to be done. I don't know if you people work with policies, you can just create a few things that help you manage your business. Because your business, once it is a system, it's going to be easy to manage. So on day 7, if you need any help, you don't have to die in your own movie. Please, these people, these tax officers are there to help you. Take advantage of these people. Nobody should talk to you badly. Everyone who works with URA is giving you a service. So you demand to be given time, and then they explain to you everything that is disorganizing your mind or confusing you. Ask for a meeting, they will give it to you. There is an education department under URA. Please take advantage of these people. You don't have to do it all by yourself. They are here to assist. You can also hire or outsource an accountant, which is optional because accountants sometimes are expensive, but there are those who are outsourced who may not be expensive, whereby it's a one-off and you simply have to get advisory from the accountant to make sure you're on the right foot. So start small and then start today. Do something small that is taking your business to a different level. Next, please. So URA is not the only place you can get help. We have Enterprise Uganda. Enterprise Uganda is another entity that is supporting SMEs. Please, dear entrepreneurs, I normally call you taxpayers because we all pay tax. The numbers are always there, and they are on a public platform, website, LinkedIn, everywhere. Call these people, they can always assist you because they are helping SMEs here in Uganda. So give them a call, they can always support you. NSSF is also there. If you feel like there is something you don't understand or you need to ask about. These people will always also be there to support. Do not do things the wrong way. Everywhere you can get help, and then your business thrives at least the right way. Then as we're also here at Uplex and Associates, we're Charm Tower. Personally, you give me a call, I always respond, unless when I'm just in the meeting or here and there, but I always respond to SMEs, because one of my purpose, one of my goals is to make sure that SMEs thrive. And I got this whole idea when the time I was working with URA, I saw a certain old man who was mistreated, where he went down on his knees and begged, please, I've been paying tax, I've been doing this. But all that was in vain. And this was at Kololo office. So when I saw that, I tried to assist him. And I saw him in the picture of my father. He looked like my father. And I really felt so bad that up to now, that picture still rings in my mind. So with that, I left URA and I decided to simply help SMEs in one way or the other. So I always create awareness or educate SMEs for that reason. So thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. Thank you, Enterprise Uganda.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Pream, Christina. Thank you. That was very educative. As here taking notes and just, reflecting on my personal businesses, but also some of the businesses that we support at Enterprise Uganda. And thank you. That has been very elaborate, very insightful, and I'm sure that entrepreneurs will reach out in case they need any guidance or advice on how to run or how to file, how to just deal with this whole issue of filing taxes. It's a dilemma for many, and even when you think you've got it right and you've tried to put in all the paperwork, somehow some things don't go well with URA. And so I think it's important we always have a tax consultant or a tax advisory with us. Ladies and gentlemen, if I were you, I would be in the chat thanking Christina and just giving her a hand clap, and just thanking her for educating us this morning. Please, let's be generous with our thank yous in the chat. Christina, if you go there, as you can see the hand claps, thank you so much. As you were going through your presentation, of course, some feedback came in terms of questions, and I want to thank, Moses Wakivi for responding to some of the concerns that have been raised. We want to use the remaining few minutes for our Q&A, and so I'm just going to go to the chat right here and just pull out a few questions. Joan, some of these questions have been addressed, but if you need clarity, please feel free to throw up your hand, or just raise your hand so that you're given an opportunity to speak. But Joan here says, as an SME, am I supposed to file income tax or presumptive tax? But one question that has been asked again and again is, what is the gaming and pooling tax exactly? You will throw more light on that. It has been asked 3 times. Okay. Some of these questions you can access Pream in the chat.
Okay.
But for now, I think let's start with those ones. Then again, we'll follow up with the other questions in the chat. We'll also ask members to use the chat to raise your questions so that Christina can address them. So over to you, Madam Christina. As an SME, am I supposed to file income tax or presumptive tax? What is the gaming and pooling tax exactly? Maybe if you respond to those, we can move to the next.
So the gaming and pooling tax are these people who are in betting. I don't know if men here understand what they call betting. So that is the gaming and pooling tax. If you're in that category, those are the people who file weekly. And at one time I came up with an article actually telling them how that tax is actually very unfair for them because they pay way so much. if you're to compare them with everyday SMEs. So that is the type, those are the people who pay gaming and pooling, the betting companies, and those people who enjoy pool games. Then the other question was,
Oh, it was about the presumptive tax.
Presumptive tax. Yeah, if you're now they're what they call micro businesses or micro SMEs. Those are the people who are supposed to file presumptive tax. And even those micro businesses, they if you have no records, you pay a higher fee compared to a person who has records of their business. So these micro SMEs, normally URA comes to your shop and tells you, you owe us this amount of money and this is what you have to pay us. But if you show them some records, they can be, it's normally a fair fee. And all these have even rates, whereby if you have records, you pay a smaller rate. If you don't have records, you pay a higher rate. So those are the presumptive taxpayers. And still, if you elevate, if your business grows a bit bigger, they will simply push you to the level of income tax, whereby you have to furnish your financial statement and then file for provisional and final income tax. But so far under presumptive, you are not supposed to file the other annual income and then provisional, because that is for businesses which are a bit, making more money, that are making above like 500 million or 300 million in gross. I don't know if I'm clear.
Okay, thank you. I hope, Joan, that is clear. Thank you. That was clear on my side. I'm just trying to look through other questions here. Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation is usually shared because this is on YouTube. There's a link that is usually shared with you for as long as you've registered to join this call. And so you'll get that YouTube link and you'll be able to go through the presentation once again. Yes, Rita asks that, is there any bookkeeping app you can recommend? Dennis also says, can payments for licenses be accounted as expenditure? But I see he has some responses right there. Maybe you can make recommendations on bookkeeping apps for SMEs. Let me see, there's another question here. If you registered your business 2 years ago, but have started operating in the 3rd year, what in this case happens? Please respond to those as I pull out some other questions.
There is this one that said, if registered as a company, no, I thought we consider parameter like threshold to determine whether you're eligible for income tax. Yes, of course. Moses, was it Moses? No, Joan. You are supposed to, from 10 million and below, those people don't pay tax. But if you're between 10 million and above, but not more than 150 million, then that is the range of presumptive taxpayer. 10 million going forward up to 150 million. That is the threshold. So people who are above that, of course, they elevate to a different tax group. Then there's this, I don't remember the question I was told. Let me look through and see. Anita, what was the other question? What is gaming and pooling?
Oh, yes. Okay.
If registered as a company.
Any bookkeeping app? There was a question on the bookkeeping.
We have Zoho. Zoho is an app that you can utilize without paying. Yes, you can pay at a certain point, but that is when your business is big. But it's an app that people have used and that actually gives you very clear systems and a clear way of recording information. And it is online, Zoho Books, without paying. There's also another one called Wave Accounting. It is also online. It is also something you can harness. It is good and it is also a free app. You can even create your receipts. You can put in your data, you know, and all your transactions you're making. So it is also a good accounting system to use.
Okay.
Those are free systems.
Okay. Again, Susan here asks if you registered your business 2 years ago, but have started operation in the third year. What in this case happened?
2 years ago. Now, 2 years ago, does it fall within when this amendment was made? If you're to calculate, if it doesn't, then it doesn't. It doesn't count. But if it falls within the period the amendment was made, then it does qualify. Because registering it 2 years ago, that means actually you started operating, whether you are making money or not. So
Okay.
it doesn't count.
Okay. Katesija says about NSSF, if I have some employees above 60 years, how do I handle them?
About 60 years, those people already receive their money, right? You have to keep paying for them, but of course they are free to get their money, because NSSF is asking people from 50 years and above to be able to withdraw their money. Either in bits, they can give you half of it or all of it. Those above 60 should get their money. If I were personally, I would even talk to inquire with NSSF if at all they can be getting it cash, which they may not allow, because NSSF uses our money for other activities either way. But they get their money. You put it there and then they give it to them.
Okay. Thank you, Pream. Godfrey says, main challenge for many of us is how to file the returns. Can a training be organized in this specific aspect? I think Godfrey here is asking for physical training. Pream, do you do those? Do you have trainings at the farm?
Yes, I organize trainings, I organize classes. That can be done. If Enterprise Uganda invites me again, I can give that to the people. I can
Can be
offer
done
that to
online?
the people. Practical. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes, practical. Okay, we've taken note of that, Pream. I'm taking that up as Enterprise Uganda to organize a physical tax training for entrepreneurs, and I'll surely follow up with you on that one. It will also be a good time to see again entrepreneurs at the Center of Excellence in Butabika. Yes, if you are VAT registered and you have not managed to achieve the 150 million threshold, what do you advise me to do? Previous attempts to register with URA failed.
Come again, please.
Jennifer asks if you are VAT registered and yet you have not managed to achieve the 150 million threshold, what do you advise me to do, because previous attempts to deregister with URA have failed?
So I will first ask, so that means so far the transactions you're making have not been able to hit that threshold. Continue filing nil return until they choose to close that by themselves. Sometimes URA is very stubborn. You tell them exactly what's going on with your business, and I'll not blame them, because some people in certain areas maybe don't know, but so you have to either move right to the commissioner or to the right body, because you may go to a certain maybe compliance officer who doesn't know about this specific area, so they will not be of help. If they fail, simply continue filing nil and have that evidence that I've been emailing you all this time and then you've not been able to help. One thing I want to let you know, entrepreneurs, defense is very important. Even every figure you put in your financials, every figure you have in all your documentations or transactions must be defendable. When they call you up there, you should be able to tell them, this is like this, and this is the backup of this and this and this. So keep that in mind, that whatever information or records you have, you should be able to defend them in the eyes of the taxman, because these are your partners.
Great, amazing. I think this will be our last question, and then you've already shared your contact. I'll leave the entrepreneurs to reach out to you in case they need to discuss with you further. Here, Caroline says, talk about tax holiday eligibility for investors. Why isn't it applicable to Ugandan investors compared to foreign investors?
So now tax holiday, Ugandans, we do more of importation than exportation, meaning we're literally taking our money out of the country, most of it. So now when investors come, they're bringing money in the country. So what could the president do? Of course, they will negotiate for a holiday, because when they're bringing money to the country, they're going to give jobs to the everyday Ugandan. And you've seen many of them have started different types of business in medical, in infrastructure, in manufacturing, and many Ugandans are being employed. So that is why they have these holidays. But now, what will an everyday Ugandan offer when they are actually importing things in Uganda? But of course, there are some other deductibles for us, but not for like over 10 years or something like that. You just need to be compliant, and then you'll be able to open other layers of deductibles, or even ask for a shorter, for example, maybe credit for over maybe 3 years or 5. But without that, we have that problem. That Ugandans are taking a lot of money outside, and every time the president is insisting, please, can we be creative and have things made from here? You've heard of Bubu. These are people who are manufacturing things for Ugandans, and people are buying them. These are people now who are keeping our money here. But now, and then also exporting. But if we're doing more of importation, that is what has failed business here. One of the biggest issues.
Great, amazing. Thank you so much, Pream. I'm trying to also, share your event so that you can talk briefly about it. I know this conversation is interesting for, entrepreneurs. Please do talk about your event as I share the flyer once again. Yeah.
Hey. So once again, I'm Christina, Pream, and on 8th November, I want to host a risk management masterclass. I would have done a tax training or anything, but I felt like this is one area we entrepreneurs ignore. And most times, we entrepreneurs are fond of doing copy and paste. These things are taught to us in school, but again, not in a practical way. When COVID-19 attacked the entire world, very few, even up to right now, people are still figuring out how to survive. They're still limping. Nobody or very few people had prepared for the COVID-19 period. So most people lost employees. Most people even lost their businesses and so on. So this was a risk, a disaster risk that actually no one prepared for. Now in business, there are many more like that. I talked about WBS. Now this is a compliance risk. WBS was a very good TV, and all of us were watching it, looking at how they are doing everything, bringing us like entertainment and so on. But nobody knew that actually they are suffering taxes of over billions. And also the taxman has a habit of keeping quiet, sitting back and waiting when you need a clearance or when it hurts the most. And then that's when they present the bill, the assessment in your eyes, when you're losing things or when they have to take over your property. So risk management, these are events around our businesses, and they challenge the way we do businesses, but we are too busy to see them. You have a contract with the employee, but it is not clear, or you have not read a contract properly, yet there are some areas that are against what you're doing. That is why you find that employees end up in this labor department, whereby they cry for themselves, and then these people come and then they take you to court, and then you're able to release money to these people. So there are many others. We have liquidity risk, which I talked about, whereby we have a lot of stock, but this stock is kept there as stock. We cannot transform it into money. So what do you do when you need money? You have to either sell at a lower amount, and then or maybe a discount, which still affects your profit to be able to sell your stock and then clear your inputs or your products or goods from the taxman. So these are things that are within us. We see them every day, but we don't take notice. So we have the risk compliance. I always tell people that if you had somebody who looks into your business like monthly, if you reach at a level whereby you want your business to be that serious, you don't have to do the audit at the end of the financial year. Do it monthly, and this internal person can act like QA and ask questions so that you're able to tight all the nails of what URA is going to bring. When URA audits, you would pass the audit because you have been able to check yourself as a business. So Amara is talking about a lot. Even when we're starting a business, it's supposed to be strategic. You have to have planned. You don't have to put all your directors at the same time in at URA. Some of them are dormant, like they're not working. Where are you presenting them at URA? So all this is, you have to start a business with a plan, a strategic plan to be able to challenge the taxman in some matters. Otherwise, all the 4 directors in the business are going to pay for tax, which they're not supposed to. But you can get 1 director and then you give them obligations and an allowance because you're a startup and you don't have money to pay everywhere. So you put in this 1 director and make sure this 1 director is compliant, then putting in 4 directors. So all these are risks all over, because there are those silent killers of businesses where there is no cash flow in the business. You have a lot of a lot of employees. These customers are taking goods on credit, but then the cash flow is suffering. So you reach a time you cannot pay your salaries, you cannot pay rent because you want to sell and yet you're selling on credit. So all these things, even pricing, many of us are pricing. We are pricing, but we don't know how to price. We simply think, okay, this one will do for me after I've calculated this. You use your eyes, but pricing has also a format so that you are also able to survive in this business. So this is the masterclass, risk management masterclass. We're going to handle everything all over and how to manage them in our businesses. So please attend.